And then how much am I going to get in loans? How much am I going to get hopefully in scholarships or grants? And then how much am I going to save to kick in, right? Maybe you're left with, I need $5,000 a year, right? And maybe that becomes realistic. You look at what your income is and you look at what your expenses and you determine, okay, well, in order to save this amount of money, this is the dollars I need to put aside every single month. Okay, so we went from I'm going to attend a good college to I'm going to attend Cornell. It's going to cost $40,000 a year. I'm going in 2009. I'm going to have to put $5,000 a year or $5,000, whatever dollars. This is how much money I make. This is how much money I spend. I have this much extra, and I'm going to make sure every month I put this aside so that I accumulate that money that I need to accumulate. Right? Isn't that much more helpful than kind of the broad, I just want to go to a good college? Okay, one more. Someone else. Yes?
The Chanel J12 white ceramic watch.
Okay, now that is specific. The Chanel J12 white ceramic watch. That's right, okay. Great, we have something really specific. How much does it cost?
$3,650.
$3,650 for the watch. Okay, I won't ask the question, is this a wise financial move? Number one. Of course it is, okay. Number two, when do you want to buy the watch?
In about 15 years.
15 years. Okay, good. That's time-bound, right? So now she's specific. $3,650, it's measurable, it's 15 years from now. So if you're looking at 15 years and it's $3,650, you've got to start to figure out what does that translate into in terms of monthly or annual savings. And back to the point the two of you made, which is you've got to adjust for inflation. So let's say $3,650 today. Let's say that the cost of the watch increases by 3% a year over the next 15 years. What do you guys think that means it's going to cost 15 years from now if it goes up at 3% a year from $3,650? Any ideas? Just a random guess. How much? $4,500. Anyone else? $39,000. It's actually going to cost almost $5,700. Okay, so the $3,600 watch is going to be much more expensive due to inflation or the general rise of prices, right? So you want to account for that and say, if I need $5,700, what does that translate into the course of the next 15 years? It's about $380 a year. That's probably pretty attainable. And maybe you can say, you know what, I could probably do a lot more than that. So maybe I can achieve my goal in 10 years instead of 15, or in 5 years, whatever it is. Okay? Does that make sense? So when you're thinking about your goals, and one of the assignments you're going to have after class is to make them specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And if it's not currently realistic, saying maybe someone wants to buy a Porsche next year, for example, you say, well, you know, given my income and my expenses, that may not necessarily happen. Then what can you do to make it realistic? What do you think? Yes? Exactly. Well, maybe I can't do it next year, but 15 years is a realistic goal, or 10 years, or, you know, the other thing is you modify your goals as time goes on, right? So if it costs, if your income doesn't allow you to do it now, maybe 5 or 10 years down the road, your income will be in a place where you'll be able to change the amount that you're saving. Okay? All right, let's look at page 7 in the workbook. So I just want you to take a look at this. This is not what we're going to be doing now, but this is one of the assignments I'm going to ask that you do after this session, which is to look at this and put in your specific goal, what your objectives are, and then if you see under objectives, they have some check marks. It says reduce spending on clothing and fast food, earn money from part-time job on weekends. So not only, as the guy here mentioned, can you change the time period, but you can also look at what your spending is and change your spending, right? Or you can make more money. So there are 3 ways that you can change things. Make more money, spend less, or extend the time. Okay? And then you're going to put in your cost, your timeline achievement date, if it's a short-term, intermediate, or long-term goal. And then you're going to have those specifics, and the next step is going to be to actually implement it. Right? Okay, now I know what I need to do to get this watch, and I'm going to start doing it right now so that when I get to that time, I'm going to be able to go to the store and buy that watch. Okay? So now we're going to talk about how we're going to budget, okay? And budgeting is just a plan for managing your money. Now, the only way you can really budget is if you have income. Now, I'm assuming that all of you have some form of income. Give me some examples of ways that you can have income if you don't have a job. Yeah. What'd you say? Parents. Yes, you guys are in the very fortunate situation where you still get income from your parents. But for most of you, maybe not all of you, but for most of you, that's not going to be the case forever. Might be the case for a while still. But what's eventually going to happen is the parents aren't going to be giving you money anymore, and you're going to have to make your own money. And that's when things get a little tougher. Yes, where else?
I was just saying maybe from birthday or holiday.
Absolutely, gifts, right? Birthday and holiday gifts. Absolutely. What else? Yes? Any ideas up there? Yes.
Selling things.
Absolutely, selling things. Do any of you sell stuff on eBay? Yeah? So you can make money that way, sure. Garage sales, right? So there's all different ways of generating an income if you're not yet working. So for those of you who do work, who get a paycheck, if you get a paycheck, meaning you're not paid with cash, were any of you surprised by what you actually got at the end? So you said, well, I'm supposed to be making $250 a week. Then all this stuff comes out, and you don't end up with $250 a week. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? Taxes. Exactly. That's a piece of it, right? So what happens? You get a job, and they say, you're going to be making $1,000 a month. Do you actually get $1,000 in your checking account at the end of the month? No. You get a lot less. So what are the kinds of things that come out of that $1,000? Yes? State taxes. New Jersey state taxes. Federal taxes, yes.
Social Security.
Social Security. What else? If you're working for a company, they're probably going to be taking out money for health care, right? Right now you're all under your parents' health insurance plans. When you're working, you're going to be under the company's health insurance plan, but you're going to probably, 90% of you, have to pay for a piece of that. Okay? So that's going to come out too. What about a 401k plan? Are you familiar with what 401k plans are? They're retirement plans that if you're an employee, you can make contributions to a 401k plan. And if you take one thing away from the session, all of you, please, when you get your first job, sign up for the company 401k plan. Now, there are a few reasons for that. Okay? The first is you put money away on a pre-tax basis. So it reduces how much money you pay in taxes, which is always a good thing. The second thing is, what do some companies do if you make a contribution to a 401k plan? Yes?
They'll match it to a certain amount.
That's exactly right. They'll match it. Okay? Not necessarily 100% of what you put in, but let's say you put in $10. A lot of companies will put in $5. And if you don't put those $10 in, they're not going to put the $5 in. So what you're basically saying to the company is, don't worry, keep your money, I don't want it. Free money, no thanks. Okay? Not a good idea, right? I mean, you really want to take advantage of it. And a lot of people don't because they don't really understand it. They don't think that they're going to be able to live on it. The fact of the matter is you'll be able to live on it because you're going to spend whatever you make. And if the money is just taken out of your paycheck, right, you don't have it in the first place to spend. And if you start really young, you're going to see how quickly that money is going to grow. Okay? And by the time you're older and you want to maybe stop working or at least slow down working, you're going to have accumulated a significant amount of money in that 401k plan if you contribute over the course of your life. Okay? Actually, there's a whole list of all the deductions, most of which we've already talked about. Federal tax, state tax, Social Security, okay, Medicare. Do all of you know what Social Security tax is for? Do you know what Social Security is? Basically, what you're doing is you're paying into a fund that is supposed to accumulate and be available for you when you retire. Okay? Meaning at age 67, and it used to be age 65, you're going to start getting money from Social Security, which is this money basically that you've been forced by the government to put